All right, welcome to week 43 of What Did Prince Do This Week? StreamYard is still doing some weird things where it's erasing all of the comments once they go live. I know that Cassandra Bradley was in the chat. Can I have somebody put a comment on Facebook to make sure that I'm seeing Facebook comments, and I need someone from YouTube to give me a comment to make sure I am seeing.
Yo.
Hey, Michael Dean, how are you this day?
Good morning. Sorry, I was coming into class late. Yeah, Dave.
You're never late. I'm just happy that you are here. And I'm still having StreamYard troubles. Okay, we got Chris Bournet in the house, but I'm not seeing any Facebook messages. Are you seeing Facebook messages, Michael Dean?
No, actually, I'm not.
Okay, maybe no one has posted from Facebook, so if you don't mind, we'd really appreciate it. Everybody should know
what the show jamming. I see you.
Yeah, for a reason. See, we got okay, so I'll figure out if I can. There we go. All right, Nick Felden knows what's up. We're playing Too Sexy. Now, does anyone know why we're playing Too Sexy? Trying to figure out if anybody did their reading. We got Laura Tebert here from Arizona. Yes. I'm seeing you, Cassandra, and you were the first in the chat. Like I said, StreamYard is doing some weird things. Don't know what's going on with the comments. Lee Christian said that I was first in the chat this time. I don't know about that. Cassandra wasn't the first in the chat.
Gotta check the tape.
The thing is, I can't check the tape because it's like all messed up. All right, Christina knows what's going on. We are playing Too Sexy because Prince joined Sheila at First Avenue on Too Sexy. So, Christina, you get your purple card today for knowing what's up. We got Mooches from Philly. Happy Saturday. We got Purple Cat Confetti.
Oh, wow.
I hope that you aced your job interview. And we got TP in the house.
Purple Confetti said,
"This is a business."
It is a business for show. It's my favorite part. Sheila on the congas. If you're not moving to this, I don't know what to do.
breakdown part. What's going on?
Yeah. All right. We got Andre in the house. From Detroit, 4th day of November. We need a purple high. It's almost here. Look at this. The purple love in the room. Cassandra, like Lee Christian, Cassandra's going to let you have first in the chat, even though YouTube showed it first. Because Lee Christian was like, we need an independent referee. Oh my God. We got Elsie from Sacramento, California. And I love the way this track ends. Some people probably hate it because it sounds like it's skipping, but that's how we start off.
That would be the perfect segue into if you just say, shut up already. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Sure. Let's see. All right. Yes, I love it. We got to have some humor. Love it, Lee Christian. Thank you so much. We got El Michelle in the house. And yes, Sheila's Tiny Desk was absolutely awesome. And then we got Raywin Harris. Always. We got Tracy Humphrey. A quick hello before I dash off to work. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Just saying howdy. We really appreciate you, Tracy, and all that you do. And we got Lisa Williams from H-Town. And Andre said they checked the tape and Lee was first. All right. Okay. Well, so according to StreamYard, it was Cassandra, but I'll take you guys' word for it. And then we got Kim, our timekeeper, is here. And Anna B was the second according to StreamYard, but that's just me. We got Ricky in the house. And
Anna B, two of a kind. Girl. That's not. I'm singing like a Tony song, but I named it Anna B. There you go. What's up, Anna B?
Yes, and we got Barbara Y who's getting ready for almost Halloween. That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. What? Anybody gonna dress up as for Halloween? Like any costumes?
Yeah, is anybody dressing up? So I went to one Halloween party in my life, Michael Dean, as an adult. And one of my friends, well, actually one of my students was having a Halloween party and he literally lived right around the corner from me. So I couldn't say, oh, I can't make this thing. So I came as a teacher. So I didn't have to change the clothes.
I mean, did you change?
No.
Okay. I'm kind of cheated, but all right.
Yeah, because that's how
I real.
Oh my God, stop the presses. We got Sheila E in the house. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How y'all doing this morning?
We missed you last
week. We got a little book and dance. That is if you can.
If I can, book and dance.
Yeah. And
they tell me Atlanta Bliss gave you everything last week.
That's right.
That's right, Cutting. So we talking about Halloween and dressing up for Halloween. Sheila, have you ever dressed up for Halloween? We want to know.
I've never done an adult Halloween party, and so the last time I dressed up for Halloween, I was still into like superheroes. So like maybe 5th grade. I've always wanted to do an adult Halloween party. Just never came across one. And unfortunately, I got a wife who thinks she should be feeding all the children. So every Halloween, I put a sign up, and I put the sign up every door, and the sign says, "Ain't got no damn candy." And them children ignore that sign. Like they like knock it. I said, "Didn't y'all read the sign?" We said, "We know Miss Monica got some candy here." So they
come on, Sheila.
So yeah, I put the sign up every year.
Man, go and get them kids some candy. They need a good brother that's, they go and, as an older, but, a grown man that's like, hey, y'all have a good time. Have some candy.
They know it's candy at the house. That's why they don't pay no attention to the sign. Like they in fact, one of the kids was looking at me like, you do know you're just wasting your time, old man, right? You do know like so.
That's so funny. And I miss Tanja all through the night. We got to make sure we promise to see Jesus in the morning. Okay. And we got Tracy with the Prince themed Halloween party tonight.
Oh, wow.
In Brooklyn. That's what I'm talking about. All right.
A Prince themed Halloween party. Wait, it's just kind of soaking into my brain. What? That's dope. Like, I can just imagine some of the costumes. That's tight, man.
Exactly. I was about to ask Tracy, you have got to share some photos so that we can share next week. Because I'm sure some people will still be celebrating Halloween next weekend because people love Halloween.
Yeah, for the kids. I'm gonna be out there. We're going door to door. You did. We're gonna be on our Jehovah's Witness, but we're gonna ask for kids.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my God. And so what I usually do for Halloween is I always watch either Scream, Blackula Scream with Pam Grier.
Ooh.
or I watch Ganja and Hess, which is one of my favorite.
What was that?
Ganja and Hess.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a really awesome movie from 1973, and it actually stars Duane Jones and Marlena Clark, who was absolutely stunning. And Duane Jones, you'll know him because he was in Night of the Living Dead, the original 1968 film.
I won't. I don't do horror.
might not.
I won't know him at all.
What? Oh my God!
Old
Let me tell you, they got me one time. They tricked my dumb behind to go see Pet Cemetery. I said, never a damn again. Never a damn. When that cat came back from the grave, I was out. I'm good. No.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. The brother that was in.
Yeah. So actually, I gotta do this. Hold on one second. I'm doing this on the spot. So you gotta go.
I was like, I heard you see ganja. So I was like, what's some kind of smokers horror movie?
So this is what it's. This is one of the posters for it, and you can see. Yeah, I highly recommend that you seek it out. It is actually directed by a Black director, Bill Gunn. It is. Yeah, it's a.
Well, I see why I probably never saw back in the day. Is that like a cross?
Yes, it's a cross. Yeah. And another thing,
my mom's and then
Andre knows what's up because Andre knows that Spike Lee remade this film.
Really?
Oh, what's that called?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that movie.
Yes.
What was it called?
I can't remember. It was like something about the blood.
The blood of Jesus. The blood.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, was it the blood of Jesus?
Yeah,
sweet blood of Jesus, actually.
Really? I missed that completely.
Yeah. That Spike's my man.
Yeah, but you have to watch the original one because Kim knows what's up because Kim watched the original first time last year. But Love Sexy. Yeah, sexy. Says they're not into Halloween, but I will watch The Shining if it comes on next week. That's also another classic.
Here's Johnny.
Exactly.
I thought that was a drop, but you did that.
Oh my God.
Like crystal clear.
Yeah. All right.
If it ain't Vampire in Brooklyn, I stay away from it. As close as I get is Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh my God, Celie. My favorite scene. What do you think is my favorite scene from Vampire in Brooklyn?
Oh man. Okay. Is it when he's the preacher and he tried to go into the church? Yeah. and the light from the church strikes him on the head, and the preacher go, God damn! I mean, the evil and ass is evil and evil is good ass. Yeah, that's man. I laughed so hard the first time I saw that scene.
That's the
Tell
one.
me more, Celie.
So get Vampire in Brooklyn so you can hear the preacher talk about evil ass. That is the yes.
He ain't lying.
And then I think there's also like a sermon about the upper room.
Yep.
Yes, I think that's probably.
I haven't seen it since it came out. I gotta watch it again.
You gotta watch it. It's all about the preacher for me.
Yeah,
I thought he was just incredible. Oh, wow. So Purple Cat Confetti is celebrating at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland Fan Day. That's pretty amazing. And then we got to give a welcome to Preston. And then I saw something that I can't find it. You guys are coming with it today. All right. So let's get started because we actually have a lot to talk about today. And I'm so happy that Celie and Michael are both with me. So let's get through the housekeeping really, really quickly. Oh, I love this, Anna B. Anna B says, my church has a trunk of treat festival. That sounds like a lot of fun.
You know what, Anna B, shout out to your church, because I get tired of all them churches doing them fall festivals, trying to act like something. At least your church is like, look, we going to have fake Halloween. Right. Yeah, all the other church, there's a church across the street from me to be like, fall festival. I'm like, ain't nothing but Halloween. Go ahead. So shout out to your church, Anna B.
Yes, indeed. And we got to say hello to Reggie B for joining us. Okay, really quick with the housekeeping. Week 43 of What Did Prince Do This Week? This is how we do every week because it's not only a very slow read of Duane Tudahl's Prince Studio Sessions book series through an interactive weekly online book club, but it is also a Saturday salon where we get together. It's like barbershop, it's like beauty salon, it's like living room, echoing the spirit of the Harlem Renaissance. So we talk about culture, not just Prince. So just want everybody to know. And we do this every Saturday at noon, and you can follow us at the schedule, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm Russian, and we're going week to week, not date to date. You can follow the detailed schedule at this bit.ly link or this QR code. You do not need the expanded edition, Michael Dean, but this is what we reading, and we're getting so close to the end. That's how much we got going, and I gotta stop singing because people don't like when I sing and talk.
Then that
So
means sing more.
There you go.
Lean in.
Double down on the singing.
Yes.
And in fact, and you know what? While you're singing, you know what you should do while you're singing? In
What's
the spirit
that?
of Halloween,
Uh-huh.
give them that Bella Lugosi. Go
There
ahead,
you
cut.
go. Yeah.
Give them that Bella Lugosi.
I wish. My sister tells me I'm very square. I wish I was cooler because I would so do the Bella Lugosi. Okay, so these will be archived at Polished Solid as well as at MDean. Please subscribe, like, and help spread the word for Prince and his work ethic. Thank you so much, Reggie B. I really do appreciate it. And I love this comment. Have a musical episode today. That's what I'm talking about. And see, Lee always makes us. But Michael, you're so funny. All right. And we got to say hello to Melvin Rush II and Fake Halloween. We got some Vincent. We got to talk about Vincent Price if we're talking about Halloween. And we got Dance with the Devil. And the party is called the Spooky Electric. That's what's going down in Brooklyn.
Vincent Price was kind of scary on the Thriller the first time I heard it. Like first time I heard Thriller, first time I heard the song, I like, hey, this is, you know, I mean, I know what they going for, but hey, cool out, Vincent. So yeah, shout out to Vincent Price.
I agree with you when it first. Yeah, I mean, Vincent Price was a scary dude. I mean,
exactly.
He became kind of. I think the Thriller made him not seem scary to me, but before that, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I thought actually, you know, now that we're talking about it, I thought it was actually pretty brilliant that Michael Jackson got Vincent Price to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was really pretty amazing.
Could you hear Vincent Price at the end of
I think people don't understand how big and important that video was.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think that you can do BT and AT. Right. I really think videos are before Thriller, after Thriller.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, anyway, go ahead, brother. Are you gonna say something?
No, I was saying something stupid. Keep it moving. I know Kim is like, it's been 18 minutes. And where we at with it now?
We're not even through the housekeeping. That's okay. But I love what you just said, Celie. BT and AT, before Thriller and after Thriller. We got to remember that. That's right. And then El DeBarra is coming through with that scene in Salem's Lot. If you haven't seen Salem's Lot, also, the movies from the 70s are just so cool. And then Anna B is asking, who has the confidence to dress like Vanity or Apollonia 6 in public?
I know back in the day, a lot of y'all did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you know,
judging by the concerts.
Yeah, and we gotta say blessings to Kaleheads. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. All right, let's see if we can get through the housekeeping. This is our hashtag WDPDTW, and we are about to embark. I'm actually getting excited about the Purple Rain tour, even though we are in 2024. And I went to the Purple Rain tour in real time, but I just saw the dates. He's going to start in Detroit. I'm getting so excited, like Prince is touring right now. So I hope you have the feeling with me of how incredible it's going to be to go on the journey with Prince on the Purple Rain tour. because he was just like working his butt off and just going to like almost every city in America almost. So I'm very, very excited about this. So if you are as excited as I am and you want to come on and talk to us about your experience of seeing the Purple Rain tour in your city, and even better, if you have any photos that you would love to share with us, we would love to have you on. Or if you don't want to come on, we'd love to show your photos. So you can reach out to us at WDPDTW@gmail.com, because we're about to get this party started in November with the Purple Rain tour in 1984. So yeah, I'm like Reggie. I got that feeling. That's right, because we're about to embark on and the estate of Prince Rogers Nelson is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series because it is independent. And Elsie is saying, me and my friends are going to be Vanity 6 and go to the club. We got some photos. We love photos.
We need them pictures now.
Yeah. And then we played Too Sexy at the top of the hour. And if you don't know, if you stay with us, you'll understand why. If you just came in, that's not going to happen because Elsie said it's too cold for all of that, though it is pretty cold. But week 43. No. All right. So what did Prince do this week? Week 43, episode 94. We're inching up to episode 100 and 6 episodes. Looking forward to that as well. And this week, there was 1 studio visit and 2 live appearances, and you'll understand why I wrote it that way, even though it's not like that in the book.
I just got a DM from Reggie B. He said he's going to dress up for Halloween. He said he's going gangster glam style.
Nice.
With the mannequin. Yeah.
With the mannequin.
All right, Reggie. I ain't mad at you, bro. He didn't say that. Let me stop.
Okay. To say, now that would be cold.
Typhoon and everything.
You got the Typhoon lace front on.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's my due food.
Whoa.
Yes. Reggie is saying lies. Yes.
That's my man. So I can mess with him.
Yes. But is the gangster glam part true at least?
Shots fired from D'Angelo?
No, I'm asking. I'm just asking, like, is Reggie going to be dressed up like gangster glam? Just in general, mankini.
Lord.
Okay. All right.
Make sure you send in your pictures, Reggie.
Roller skates and everything.
No, I'm talking about the gangster glam with the suits and the tie and the cane. I'm not talking about no mankini.
Okay.
Oh my God. All right. So
with the roller skates, you get extra credit if you got the roller skates.
You got them skates on.
Yeah, bro. He said if the money. He said when the money get low, he'll do it. But
tell him, Reggie, for $50 million, I seriously consider it.
You can get one of your homeboys to be Damon in the back. Maybe doing that. Jokes, Damon. I'm just clowning. All right, I'm done.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. This week, 1984 in October, this is what Prince was doing. Okay, Sunday, rehearsal in Bloomington, Minnesota. Monday, rehearsal in Bloomington, Minnesota. Tuesday, equipment is moved to Minneapolis Auditorium. We don't know if they rehearsed or not. It seems like they got a day off. I don't know if that's true, but that's what Duane wrote. And then on Wednesday, there's a rehearsal at the Minneapolis Auditorium. Then on Thursday, a lot happened. So there was a I Would Die For You 12-inch recording that we're going to read about. Sheila E. did the final show in her tour at First Avenue, and Prince joined her on stage. And then Prince had a little mini 45-minute performance on the 7th Street entry side with Brown Mark and Bobby Z, which we're going to read about, which I'm so excited that Celie is with us, because in that set, Prince plays a B.B. King song. So we're going to talk about that. And then on Friday, there was another rehearsal at the Minneapolis Auditorium, and Supposedly nothing happened on the 27th, but I don't believe that. That's where we need to do more research to figure out what was going on that day, or it could be the other book, as Michael Dean would say. All right, so we don't have any reading for Sunday and Monday because we already talked about like the rehearsals and whatnot. And with I will read really actually, Sheila, do you mind reading the Tuesday page 439? It's super quick.
Yeah, Tuesday, October 23rd, 1984.
Yep.
All righty. Wait a minute. Hold on. You know,
Man, we're actually almost done with this book. That's crazy.
Exactly.
Thank you, Brother Tudahl, for all your work. I'm just, keeping save my eyesight a little bit. So, after almost 3 weeks without a day off, the Revolution was not scheduled for rehearsal. The crew, however, did not have the day off and moved the equipment to the Minneapolis auditorium. The rehearsals began sliding to the. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. It's not my eyesight. It's
get that chicken grease off of it.
There you go. That's what it is. That's definitely what it is. First, I was like, do I got cataracts? No, that's chicken grease. That's chicken grease. The rehearsals began shifting to the evenings to reflect the upcoming concert schedule. That's it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Cool. That's kind of like dress rehearsal. That's kind of cool that he's like trying to get their bodies and everything in time and in line with, kind of setting up how you're gonna have your day. So that's another one of that Prince being a professional, right? And I want to make sure I'm not gonna leave anything to chance, and we're gonna run it through like we're gonna run it through. That's it.
Yep. And we want to say hello to Sanique.
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for joining us.
The greatest documentarian of all time. What's up, Sanique 22?
That's right.
Man, you should just compile your whole thing and just put that as a documentary. That'd be it, right?
That's what I'm saying. Put that out.
Yeah. All right. We are going to skip past Wednesday because we already said that it's a rehearsal, and we're going to go to Thursday, and we're going to turn to our books, and it is page 440 is where we're going to get started, and I'll do the reading for this one because it's kind of long, and we get started. All right. Thursday, October 25th, 1984, I Would Die For You recording of 12-inch rehearsal. Venue, Minneapolis Auditorium, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. Producer Prince, artist Prince and the Revolution, engineer Susan Rogers, Robert Cubby, Colby, and David Tickle. And this is a Bobby Z quote. I think that my greatest memories of my musical career are of rehearsals that were spectacular, not shows. It was an exciting time. And I don't even want to read because that is such an incredible quote, and I wholeheartedly agree with Bobby Z. I've said this before. I pull out the rehearsals when it comes to the Purple Rain tour. That's what I want to listen to. I want to listen to the Purple Rain rehearsals versus the tour. That's just me. But we will continue. All right. So this was a very busy day. Yes, it was, as we already know, because we had a little preview during the week thing. According to those around him, Prince wasn't going to leave anything to chance. The 26-year-old discovered that the tour would sell out regardless of its quality. But because this was the first time fans would see him play live, he decided to give them everything the first time many fans would see him play live, he decided to give them everything they wanted. And what they wanted was to revisit the movie. To accommodate that, it was decided to play every track. How many tracks? Every track from the soundtrack album, although Take Me With You wasn't regularly played by the band until January of 1985. It was in rotation as part of the piano set beginning 2 weeks into the tour. Purple Rain had created a steamroller that had the potential to crush everything in its path, including Prince, if he stood still for too long. That was a great line, Duane. By buying into the idea of recreating the movie and taking on the persona of its lead character, he was taking a gamble that could derail his image as a musical rebel This is actually a really important sentence right here. He was taking a gamble that could derail his image as a musical rebel. And Prince realized that his major success could also bring major consequences, which caused him to actively work against the direction of the purple tidal wave. So as we know, he has been working on Around the World in a Day with a fever. And then Duane continues and writes, in 1984, Prince had achieved a level of fame that few entertainers would match, but that success threatened to permanently brand him as the kid from Purple Rain and could haunt the rest of his career. Years later, he'd admit, this is Prince speaking, my own competition is myself in the past. Prince worked very hard to make the entire Purple Rain project a success, but he had spent the fall working just as hard to distance himself from it. I'm going to read that one more time. Prince worked very hard to make the entire Purple Rain project a success, but he had spent the fall working just as hard to distance himself from it. He always wanted to release as much new music as possible, but Purple Rain was still at the top of the charts. And Warner Brothers was trying to get as much out of their investment in the album as possible. Prince needed to be a part of that machine, but he wanted to do it on his terms. I just heard Christopher Tracy, we want to bring him down to our world. Okay. But Prince needed to be part of that music, blah, 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 blah. Okay. On every single, he'd release a new B-side, but the extended versions of his tracks were only variations on the album versions, which was arguably frustrating him. So he continued to create more new music. Prince would later reflect, music is a part of my DNA. And the weird thing is, if I don't get the things I come up with, you know what, Michael Dean, can you read that Prince part? I'm not good at quoting Prince. The music is part of my DNA, 441.
I'm going to do it as Prince been in the studio for a few hours and kind of frustrated with engineers. Music is a part of my DNA. And the weird thing is, if I don't get the things I come up with out of my head, I'm unable to function. Susan,
that requires a clap. Thank you for that, Michael Dean.
Jesse.
All right. Not only did Prince want to get them out of his head, he wanted his creations to be heard by others. This is Susan Rogers. With someone with a mind that is as fertile and creative as Prince, he would have been bored. His fertile brain was constantly wanting to record new material. All right, Michael, I'm going to let you read this paragraph, please. This is Jelly Bean Johnson.
He
has a vault of.
Yeah. He has a vault. Okay. He has a vault of shit, and he probably wanted to put it out. And they're like, shit, slow down, laughed Jelly Bean Johnson. But what you've got to realize is he writes all the fucking time. Anything comes to him, he's going to do it. And that's how he was back then. No.
Thank you.
I added that party.
Several Warner Brothers Records executives were frustrated by this. His attitude was, and this is senior PR exec Bob Merlis.
Can I do that one too?
Sure.
Where's senior? Where's the exec? Okay. I have a lot to say. His attitude was, I have a lot to say musically, and I want to say it right now, remembered senior PR exec Bob Marlis. While we were working on promoting the second single from the current album, he'd already recorded the next album and wanted us to put it out.
All right. And Alan Lee saw this up close as he managed the Purple Rain tour. Do you want to do Alan? That would be hard to do. Okay, I'll read it. He didn't really care about the needs of a record label to mount the campaign to successfully and fully exploit an album. He was someone who saw his songs like newspapers. I love this analogy. They were timely things, so that if he went into the studio tonight and made a new record, in his mind, it was something to be listened to quickly because it was of the moment. If there were a way for him to release a new song every day, he would do that. Much like you'd go to the stoop and get the newspaper, you start your day with a Prince song of the day. Wouldn't that have been amazing in real time if that would have been possible? Just to think about that. By the time a record got released, it was old news to him. And he'd written, and in some cases even performed, dozens and dozens and dozens of newer songs that were more relevant to who he was at that particular time. He didn't choose to understand the concept of spacing out singles and gradually retaining interest in an album so it could continue to sell. And meanwhile, the label is just up and running workshop on that latest album and wondering why he isn't there to support it. So it was a recipe for disaster.
That's very interesting. I mean, we've talked about these types of things before. You know, Prince always ahead to the next thing. But it is interesting looking at this. And this is when Purple Rain is just taking off and being very successful. I mean, did he feel this way with the other albums prior to this? You know, like, okay, it's time to go on tour for Controversy. Was he frustrated with, I don't want to be locked into doing Controversy, I'm ready to do 1999? Or I'm just curious, like, why did this sort of attitude, was this attitude always there with him through his album runs? Or was it only, did it just start here because this was like a big smash or something, you know?
I would say that the attitude probably intensified, right? Because he was always, because going back to that quote that Prof Duff read, you know, and I always come back to what Brother Turnbull said about Prince always working in two timelines. So Prince was always working in two timelines. Like, we always know that he was, even on the Controversy tour, working on 1999 stuff, on the Dirty Mind tour, working on Controversy stuff. I just think that he had the foresight this time to go, this is going to be big as hell. And because I know it's going to be big as hell, I'm going to keep moving forward. It's almost like, and again, you never know, right? You're never 100%. But I do think that he had a really good idea and had enough of a history to go, I'm not going to be the person performing my one hit 20 years from now. And I think that was the only thing that got added. So I think that he was always working into timelines. I just think that he was specifically thinking about, and I never heard the term that Prof Duff used, either, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, what is the golden handcuffs? So I had never heard that concept before, but he seemed to be keenly aware of it. So I wouldn't say it was a new attitude. I think it just became more intensified as he realized. I think even people around him began realizing, and as you know, you get the dailies, people, let's go back when they're shooting the movie. Anybody's ever been involved with a movie, you don't know what the movie's going to do. But if you're getting good dailies every day, if someone is telling you like that damn scene was good, you're hearing so-and-so is bringing it every day, you at least have some idea that, okay, this is going to be big, and I don't want to be the Purple Rain dude for the rest of my life. I'll shut up.
I actually really like this quote from Sinik in the chat. Morris spoke on this because Controversy was ready directly after the Rolling Stone concert, but 1999 was a direct result of his Rolling Stone Get Back. So that's one thing. And then another thing I want to say is that by this time, Prince knew Purple Rain was already a success because the movie came out before the tour. And also the album, even before the movie, was doing really, really well. So I think I would assume everybody in Prince's camp, this is a question I think for Alan Lees, I would assume that everyone would know that they're on the cusp of mega stardom after, not while they were filming the movie, but after the premiere, after the reception to the movie. But also and Arthur talked about this at Erotic City 40 earlier this year. The Purple Rain soundtrack was released before the film, and it was massive on its own without the film, particularly with When Doves Cry and that video. So I think everything was just lining up. You know, you got your hit single, you got your hit album, you got your hit movie. And then I mean, obviously nobody knows what Prince was thinking, but I can imagine one possibility was like, oh Lord, what have I gotten myself into? You know what I mean? So I think that this was a little different from any other previous albums, even though Sinik is really, I'm glad that Sinik put that comment in the chat about that for sure. All right, and we're still on page 442. In many ways, Prince was looking to satisfy his fans as well as his critics, who may have seen his success as a fluke, meaning the critics, definitely not the fans. When the time came to release an extended version of I Would Die For You, I think this is really important. So, like, again, some of us take this stuff for granted, but really listen about this in terms of I Would Die For You. Prince decided to forego a simple remix of the track, as well as the actual live version from the August 3rd, 1983 show, which was only slightly longer. Instead, he chosen to record a new version that was an expansion of how it would be played on the Purple Rain tour, which was scheduled to start in just over a week. This updated rendition was only played in late November at the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, when they were recording the videos for I Would Die For You and Baby I'm a Star. Taking a quick break from the tour's final dress rehearsals, Prince gathered the Revolution and Sheila E's band and put their long jam to tape. Susan Rogers recalled that period and the method for getting it done properly. This was 1 month of renting these places out. By the end of this month, the Purple Rain tour is pretty much ready to go. All the bugs have been worked out, and the band would jam for a few hours, and that's when we recorded the long version of I Would Die For You. It was recorded on 24 tracks remote in the mobile truck, and that's how it was done. The song included all the members of both bands, with Wendy Melvoin, Lisa Coleman, Eddie M. Minifield, Miko Weaver, and others called out by name. Very few of the lyrics were actually used, and because it was such a loose jam, Prince actually had to say verse and song to let them know when he'd start singing. It was obvious that Prince was still working out details of the jam, most of which would be edited out. And just so you know, this is in the accompanying playlist this week. So someone, I'm blanking on the community's rest of their YouTube username, but it's posted there. And it's really interesting to hear the original, like 30 minutes plus version versus the version that was released, and how those cues were edited out while some of those cues still remain in the released track. The track was brought back to the warehouse for additional overdubs. The beginning of the tape included Prince's instructions to his engineers. You guys mix this down to a cassette or a 2-track or something. So, Michael Dean, can you read the Prince's quote?
You guys mix this down to a cassette or a 2-track or something so I can listen to the cassette. Okay, let's jam.
Yeah, I wish that was bolded, Duane, because I got that. Yeah. All right. Status: the lengthy performance of I Would Die For You, 30 minutes and 55 seconds, that was recorded today, was eventually edited down to 10 minutes and 20 seconds and released as the song's 12-inch. The unedited version remains unreleased. So what you guys got to say about hearing the I Would Die 12-inch for the first time?
I remember, I want to say, did it come out after the Syracuse? Maybe I might have heard the 12-inch after the Syracuse show had been released. That's so I always was like, God, this is just like the concert, so I always wanted to play it. That guitar lick, I think that Wendy plays throughout that, I just thought was so dope. But yeah, that's my only memories and experiences with this. But I loved it.
It was great for me because the Purple Rain tour was the only tour I missed. It was the only one I missed because my mama turned my tickets into confetti because of my grades. And so getting this 12-inch was like a consolation, I guess, for lack of a better word. So I liked it because of that. It was getting in real time, and and because I'd seen Prince live before, that was the Prince I loved. I love live Prince, and I was so and I would say that it also kind of bummed me out because how long we had to wait to get a proper live Prince release, right? That 12-inch, and then the videos for I Would Die For You, and then the Take Me With You video, that it took. So we did get America. We got the America video, but we never got it. It took so long to get a long live Prince album but this, I would say this 12-inch really kind of got me hyped for, man, we probably gonna get a live Prince record and maybe we're gonna get a live Prince Purple Rain record. And we just kept waiting and kept waiting and kept waiting. And what was Aladdin? What was the Aladdin was that the first live?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because we all bootleg Sign of Times. Like we all ran Sign of Times through our stereo system. And yeah, so just it was a bittersweet moment that I was so happy to get live Prince, thinking that a live album was going to emerge, and it never did. That's it. I'll shut up.
So another thing that I want to bring up is actually in the chat, Barbara Y brings up a question I wanted to talk to you guys about. So Duane wrote, and in what we just read, that's an interesting point that Prince wanted to say a rebel rather than being a pop star. I wonder why that is, especially when I think of others like MJ wanted to become big pop stars. And then Barbara follows that with, and often P fans have a strong negative reaction to Prince being described or seen as a pop star. And I'm one of those people. I've said this before and I'll say it again. When I went over to the Purple Rain Manchester conference and I was at customs, they ask you why you're here. And I told them I'm here for a Prince conference. And the guy literally almost gave me like that he was like, Prince the pop star? And I almost started to go into it. Prince is not a pop star. Prince is a musician. He's more the blah, 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 blah. But I wanted to get in the country, so I didn't. Yes.
You took that Booker T. Washington advice. When your head is in a lion's mouth, speak lightly.
Yes. So I mean, that wasn't that long ago. So I guess I am one of those people because I see Prince. For me, Prince's pop stardom was like icing. It wasn't like the cake, if that makes any sense. Like the cake was Prince's musicianship, his artistry, his world building and all of that. And it just so happened that he became super famous. So, and also, as you guys know, Controversy is my favorite Prince record. And that was like Rude Boy Central, The Rebel. So that's what one of the things, and obviously Dirty Mind as well. So yes, Theo, I did bite my tongue for real because I wanted to get in the country for sure. So, all right, go ahead.
Say, and I hope people don't take this as I'm dissing other people. I think that Prince, more than anything, understood the limitations of being a pop star. Because when you become a pop star, that means that you are now in the factory hit making, right? The hit making factory. So that now songs are not about, right? You can't have some weird guitar solo. You can't have some weird feedback. You can't have some jazz riffs. You can't do some kind of long funk thing. And so I think that for Prince, it was one of those things where he just didn't want to have to be playing the same kind of music just because he knew that was going to sell, right? What's the quote back? I think it was during either I can never remember what was the controversy of the 1999 era. He says that I don't want to get fans who only like me for hit songs because they never come around to check you out when you do something new. That always stuck with me. Like that quote about him realizing there was a difference between having fans who found you on the pop charts versus having fans who found you either before that or who found you doing something not on the pop charts. And I think it's a difference between hardcore fans who never went to see Prince with a set list versus people who went to see Prince with a set list, right? One of my favorite times was when Prince, what he said, if you drove up here in a little red Corvette, you're gonna be surprised what you're gonna get. Like I hate the tours that didn't work for me were later, the couple of times when he was doing the hits, because I'd grown accustomed to an artist that I knew I was gonna get more than the hits. And so I just think that whether we call it being a pop star or whatever we want to call it, I think that he was just he just knew that I didn't want to be the person that there was going to be a script of songs, and I could never venture away from those script of songs. I'll shut up.
So go ahead, Michael.
I was going to say, at the time, I'll admit, I didn't know what a pop star was when this stuff was happening. It was Michael Jackson, it was Prince, and they was dope, and I loved it. I kind of felt like a little later after this, I felt like he didn't want to be seen as a black artist in the sense of, R&B or, stuck into these sort of genres. And I almost felt like he wanted to be a pop star. It seemed like to me, just as a newer fan at the time, because, I saw Purple Rain. That's what got me into it. And then sort of the wait between Purple Rain and, then Around the World in a Day came out. And for me, being the second album, I was like, whoa, this is different than what I just got into. And I liked it that it was different. But then after that, I go back and start listening to the older albums and sort of looking at the song choices. I was like, when Raspberry Beret came out, was that the first single off of? Yeah, I was kind of like, I didn't like it at first because I was like, this isn't the Prince that I've been watching, jamming, in the concert. And, when I saw the time and just the way it was presented in the movie, to me, that was like, black. It was just like, yeah, that was the funk. And I was like, what is it? This sound like some pop fairyland. And I was like, okay, I can kind of see he's got clouds on, his hair is different. It looked like he was trying to be, now I'm a superstar, or let me tone it down a little bit. That's what it felt like. It was toned down from what I gathered what he was like before. And it felt like, to me, it was like, oh, he's leaning into being more acceptable to a broader audience. It seemed like to me he toned himself down a little bit in terms of, the sexuality didn't seem as overt as before. I remember that magazine where he was on the cover of People magazine with their yellow shirt. And I looked at that, I thought it was dope, but I was like, yeah, this ain't the Purple Rain Prince, and it certainly is not the controversy Dirty Mind Prince either, but it was just an evolution. So I always felt like, I didn't feel like he had a problem being seen as a pop star. I almost felt like he leaned into that. And then I felt like albums like the Black Album and Sign of the Times is sort of more of like his, oh, they don't even think I'm black enough. Let me go back to getting back in that R&B funky type of stuff. So this is weird to me. And then I think when I look at his career, it almost is like, but he became that guy that was known for the one song. You know what I mean? Like he leaned into the hit tours. That was how he made his money. I wasn't mad at it. I was like, yeah, go get your bag and then come back and do something for the fans. So I don't know, a pop star. I didn't know what a pop star was, but I definitely did see him as a superstar that could kind of do anything he wanted. And I think he wanted to be a superstar, but that's just my opinion.
I was just gonna go ahead, Prof. Dust.
So I actually like this comment from Kaleheads. I think the definition of pop star has been evolving. Does the term have negative connotation with Prince because of how he perceived pop after MJ branded himself the king of pop?
See, and so that's what I was saying, that I think that in the 80s, right, and for those of us who were Prince fans and had seen him live before Purple Rain, there was a distinction between a pop star and a rock god and a pop star and a funk musician. And I think that in the 80s, pop star was, for lack of better terms, the three biggest pop stars in the 80s were Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, and Lionel Richie. And I think that all three of them, the question is, what did they give up? What did they relinquish? What did Whitney Houston? What did Michael Jackson? What did Lionel Richie? And Prince was always reaching to be as much of a guitar god and a funk musician. Bernie, I was speaking more about the black artists at this point. Gotcha. I see when you got Madonna. I'm thinking about the black artists when you're looking at pop. That, like, Michael Jackson was never seen as a funk musician. Lionel Richie was seen as a person who had given up funk to become a pop star. In fact, what a lot of people don't know is that the reason Lionel Richie didn't quote it. Yes, Lionel Richie left the Commodores, but part of the reason Lionel Richie left the Commodores was because the other Commodore members were sick of those damn love songs.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted Lionel to write more funk jams. So in the 80s,
he didn't want to stay in that black music box.
Yeah, right. Well, Lionel did. Lionel wanted to write these kind of, crossover songs where the rest of the band members, they wanted to be funk musicians. And so I think that for
Kool and the Gang will fit into this too.
Yeah, Kool and the Gang, yes. And so I think that for Prince, in his mind, pop meant a very narrow lane. It meant that you couldn't be a guitar god. It meant you could not be a funk musician. It meant you could not play the blues. That being a pop star meant you were going to be a very kind of well-regulated thing. And I think that around the world in a day where it may seem poppy to some, that around the world in a day was a venture away from what was seen as the Whitney Houston, Lionel Richie, Michael Jackson kind of pop thing. That's it. I'll shut up.
And let's see, Chris Burnett is saying, and then after Lionel left, I call him Lionel, the Commodores did Night Shift, one of the biggest crossover pop hits of their career.
Yeah, but I would argue that that's a really good soul song that went pop. Like because here's what Night Shift has, and I know people are gonna get upset here's what Night Shift has that some of those Lionel Richie songs don't have is a church bottom. Night Shift still has a church bottom, right? Like Lionel Richie singing on Jesus is Love and Just to Be Close to You. I would say that Night Shift is closer to Jesus is Love and Just to Be Close to You than it is to say All Night Long or Hello, if that makes sense. So that sometimes a good soul song can cross over without it being attempted being a pop song, and that one just worked. I will say though, to Brother Bernet's point, the Commodores did say that they chose, I can't remember the brother's name who was from London. They did choose him because they liked his accent. So I will say they did that. The brother that they replaced Lionel. So anyway, that's it.
All right, so there's some comments I wanted to talk about. We're going a little bit back. So Reggie P, going back to the pop star thing. He was a pop star for a few minutes to get to where he ended up going. Them cufflinks cost money. And he said himself in the interview with MTV. And then Sinik said, unpopular opinion, he wanted to be a pop star. He was a pop star. He just wanted to be he wanted to be a pop star on his own terms.
Yeah, even like what do you say about the family, right? That was a whole reason behind that was to get that pop star money.
Yeah, the Duran money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then Chris wrote, I don't have a problem with Prince being described as a pop star. I don't think Prince wanted to be the tree falling in the forest that no one heard. So I just one of the things I want to be clear on is I didn't say that Prince didn't want to be a pop star. That's not what I'm saying. I just want to be clear. What I'm saying is D'Angelo Duff does not think of Prince as a pop star. I think of Prince as something more than a pop star. So I just want to be clear that that's the point that I was trying to make. Because I'm never going to speak for Prince because I don't know.
No, but I also think that there's a difference. And I'm splitting hairs. There's a difference between being popular and being a pop star. Like when you look at a Whitney Houston album, let's be clear. Clive was specifically choosing certain types of songs that will appeal to white listeners. That's not a knock on Whitney Houston. I want to be clear. That's not a knock on Whitney. Let me say it one more time. That's not a knock on Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston could still sing her butt off. But Clive, the machine behind Whitney, was specifically choosing songs that would keep her. In fact, was it her second or third album where Clive went to the producer and said, hey, we need you to bring some of the black bass back. So again, so no one is saying Prince didn't want to be popular. We're saying that Prince had there's a definition of what it meant to be a pop star. And Prince understood that being a pop star would be limited because you couldn't be a rock god and be a pop star, particularly as a black artist. You couldn't be a funk master and be a pop star as a black artist.
And
right?
then you know what happened later, in my opinion? Hip hop and R&B, when it merged with that, knocked that barrier out of the water where you didn't have to change the sound of your music to be a pop star. The black music became pop music, right? You know, to me, like when you thought of Lionel Richie, you brought up the point of he changed the style. His music sounded a little different than the funk band. You know, Prince sort of moves away a little bit from that overly aggressive funk to something else. But I think what came after them was we don't have to change the sound of our music. Our music became pop music, right? So when you think of the pop artists of today, you really can't tell the difference sonically, musically. It sounds just as dope as what back in the day would have been R&B music. You know, so you don't have to change. You know, R&B became pop. So that's why I think Prince and them had to sort of, you know, I think they were relegated to the way music was perceived in genres and the videos and stuff. But I think what came after them, with the doors were wide open, artists didn't have to change their sound to be considered pop. You could be Bobby Brown, you could be No Diggity, and all these songs. They became pop songs, and you didn't have to make them sound like they were watered down. They could be just as aggressive. You know, Nothing But a G Thing is a pop song, right? But the elements of that is hardcore blues R&B. They literally sampled that, but they made that pop. So they didn't have to switch up. You didn't have to put on a suit no more. You could just wear whatever you wanted. You didn't have to have an extra costume. You could be straight from the streets and be a pop star. And I think what came after those guys is that sort of conversation went away because that pop music that was considered pop in Prince's day, it doesn't even exist. That's not pop anymore. Like those artists are genre indie artists where we now are the pop thing. You know, R. Kelly was pop for a lot of people. So that's what I think, you know, I think there was, at the time when they came out, there was the stigma of being a black artist, being a rock artist, like you said. Now Lenny Kravitz can be whatever the hell he wants to be. That's not, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to be a black artist, so he's just an artist. So in Prince is just an artist, ultimately, you know, can do whatever he wanted.
All right, so Steely, if you don't mind reading the next section, which is page 443, Thursday, October 25th.
I'm like my granddaddy. Like, is it better this way? I feel I'm getting my. So Thursday, October 25th, 1984, live performance. Venue First Avenue, 7th Street entry, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Capacity unknown. This is a quote from Sheila E. Oh, he's a workaholic, no question. We'll end up going to a club and playing for another 3 hours. It's that much fun. After recording the long version of I Will Die For You, Sheila E. performed for her final pre-tour concert at First Avenue, where Prince joined her on stage, doing her second encore to play on Too Sexy. Subsequently, Prince, Brown Mark, and Bobby Z borrowed some instruments and took over the stage next door at the 7th Street entry. Quote, all the rehearsals made us a tight machine, remembers Brown Mark. We would walk into anybody's bar, get on the equipment, and we would throw down. We challenged everybody. We weren't afraid. We all kind of developed very unique techniques. We mixed all that together, especially the back end with the drums and the bass. It was rocking. And people hadn't ever seen anything like that before. It was massive. We could hit jazz. It didn't matter what. We hit it all. Of course, that was Brown Mark. The Power Trio performed that's interesting. I never thought of them as the Power Trio because everything of Power Trio, I think Prince, Michael B, and Sonny T. So to think of those three as the Power Trio. It's really interesting. The Power Trio performed a multi-song impromptu jam featuring Prince's own tracks, Erotic City and Mutiny, and a composition by Sly and the Family Stone, Africa Talks to You, The Asphalt Jungle, and James Brown, Give It Up or Turn It Loose. Prince also included a track he introduced as Blues in G, but it was actually the B.B. King, Dave Clark song, I Got Some Outside Help That I Don't Need, which had been rehearsed by Prince and the Revolution in mid-July. It was fairly obvious that this set was not a formal show but more like an unrehearsed freeform jam to blow off some steam, with Prince cueing the other various songs keys. The show wrapped up around 1 a.m. A rehearsal, a jam recorded for release, a guest appearance with Sheila E, and a 25-minute concert performance. It was a big day and proof that Prince had more energy than almost anyone. Michael Dean, you want to do us the honors?
In the past, a lot of friends said I was a maniac, a workaholic. But I take that as a compliment. Coltrane plays sax 12 hours a day. Can you imagine the spirit that would drive a body that hard? I want to play 12 hours at a time. 15 hours at a time. Oh, Lord.
Thank you for that. All right. So this was a big day. You know, as Celie read, we started off with a rehearsal, and then this rehearsal would become eventually a 12-inch. There's a guest appearance with Sheila E. at First Avenue, and then Prince goes over to the 7th Street entry. So I want to look at some slides real quick.
On fire that day, though. I mean, just good Lord. That day alone could have been an album. You know what I mean? Like just that, all that could have been released and would have been a hit buster.
For sure. All right. So this is actually the final date on Sheila E's Glamorous Life tour. So it ends at First Avenue on October 25th. And I want to read this review from John Bream at the Star Tribune. So give me a second. So Prince briefly joined Sheila E. for surprise First Avenue Jam. And First Avenue has been unexpectedly crowded all week long because many music fans anticipated an unannounced performance by Prince. After all, our local boy Made Good did show up at First Avenue last Saturday night and take the stage in the club's 7th Street entry with 2 of his band members for a spontaneous 45-minute jam. Well, Prince hit the stage at sold out First Avenue Thursday night, but it was only briefly. He performed the second encore, an 8-minute guitar jam, complete with scat call and response with the audience, with Sheila E., the current princess in his royal court, who did give an unadvertised concert. Sheila E., short for Escovedo, doesn't have to ride anyone's coattails anymore. Sure, she performed with Lionel Richie, Marvin Gaye, and George Duke. Yes, Prince was heavily involved with the recording of her debut solo album, but Sheila's got a top 10 hit with The Glamorous Life, a top-notch band, and a pile of favorable reviews from a recent club tour. Sheila's short performance, about an hour, on Thursday suggests that she'll be an ideal opening act for the Prince concert tour, but that she doesn't live up to her potential as a club act. She has a striking, if not exotic presence, a pleasing voice, great versatility and flair as a percussionist, a dynamite band, and a handful of good groove tunes. What was missing, however, was the kind of spontaneity that makes a show genuinely exciting. Everything seemed too carefully choreographed. Unison dance can be flashy fun with vocal groups, but it looks hokey when instrumentalists dance in harmony. Moreover, Sheila didn't give her 7 backup musicians much room to really show their chops, except on the opening instrumental Shortberry Straw Cake and during the jam at the end of Oliver's House. This young, multiracial band from the San Francisco Bay Area can really play, as if demonstrated at the premiere party for Purple Rain in Hollywood. But that kind of spark wasn't there Thursday when they performed like a crack drill team. The crowd seemed a bit blasé, probably because many of the bargoers were expecting a Prince concert. Sheila did her best to entreat them to give it up, but the only tunes they seemed to recognize were Glamorous Life and an unexpected version of Prince's Erotic City, an X-rated groove tune on which she sings backup vocals. She courted the crowd by announcing that she had recently moved from Oakland to Minneapolis. That brought a cheer, but the biggest rise probably came when she pulled Terrence, a young man with purple pants, jacket, and glove, out of the audience for next time wipe the lipstick off your collar. She taunted him verbally and teased him with her hands and lips, which brought howls from the crowd. Of course, the loudest cheers came when Prince waltzed on stage after Sheila and her band had begun a rhythmic jam for the second encore. His cameo was more rewarding for celebrity watchers than music lovers, and it raised the question, is it rude for the prince to upstage his princess on her own night? Thankfully, Sheila closed the jam with a showy solo on the timbales after Prince had left the stage. So let me look at some of the, there's a lot of comments here, so I want to make sure. So Byron B saying, I didn't know Sheila E toured The Glamorous Life. I always considered that a Prince album. But yes, Sheila had her own tour. Celia, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I generally like John Bream's writing. I mean, I think he's he's just a seminal writer. I found his comment about bands dancing being hokey or whatever term he used a bit surprising, because I'm sure by now he had seen The Time, and I'm guessing The Time isn't the only black band that he had seen. I mean, I'm not saying he's seen a lot, but that was because when I first saw, because I've when you were reading it, I didn't know it was by John Bream, and so my first knot was there had to be like a white rock writer who's never seen black bands play. Then I look up and go, damn, that's John Bream. That's one of the respected Prince journalists and people who've covered his career. And I just was really, I would say, shocked more than disappointed, because I don't want to be disappointed in somebody's own opinion, right? I want to give people the space to have their own opinions. I'm just shocked that John Bream would have written that at that time about bands and dancing. That's a very kind of rock elitist kind of take to have from somebody who I'd expect more of. So anyway, but everything else was fine. That was just a really interesting take that I didn't expect to hear from John Bream. That's it. I'll shut up.
So what's really great, and actually D68A is here, and I just want to thank you again for your YouTube channel, because in the accompanying playlist for this week, we actually have this show in the accompanying playlist, so you can at least hear the performance, the entire concert actually. And also we have the full 30 minutes of I Would Die For You in the accompanying playlist as well. So listen for yourselves. Obviously we can't see for ourselves because I haven't seen any video footage of that First Avenue show, but it seems like someone would have recorded it. So maybe it's just not out yet, but we do have some photos. And this photo is actually definitely Jim Steinfeld, and to remove that question mark, but there's some other ones that I wasn't sure, but it seems like Jim might have been the marquee photographer of the night. I love this image of Sheila. Again, it's the top from the album cover, which I absolutely adore, which is none other than Louis and Vaughn. And Mr. Vaughn, we had an opportunity to speak with him earlier at the Erotic City 40 Symposium in April. This is one of my favorite photos that I've seen from the show. I just love the way that Prince is looking at Sheila and how Sheila's looking at Prince. Any photo that you see of them on stage together, they're just having so much fun, and they often look like they're in their own world, meaning like, yes, they're performing for other people, but they just seem to be like in this bubble. And I just love seeing them happy, being musicians together. And then this is another photo. I just love the way that Sheila's looking at Prince, and I just really adore this photo. I think it's Jim, but I'm not sure. And then this is another photo. Again, they're smiling, having fun, and love, 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 love this image of Prince. Just, he can be, a joker at times, and you just can see that he's having so much fun. And I love to see Prince having fun. This is one of my favorite photos. And this is him, feeling it, when, playing the guitar, which is always nice to see. And this is also an amazing photo that Jim Steinfeld took of Sheila. And I really loved, she had this black jacket with like pink satin inside. I always loved to see her in that. And then this is my favorite photo from this night of Prince. Always like, I don't know, I have several photos of Prince looking down almost towards the guitar. And I really gravitate towards those images. And a lot of people on I've seen various people, I should have had an image of this. There's this jacket that Sheila has with like a lot of different colors, and a lot of people attribute it to this show, but it's actually not this show. It was another show. So just be aware of that those photos actually aren't from this date if you're into your photography and all that, because I'm a photo snob. So also, if you want to learn more about this, you can go to Prince Vault. We haven't talked about Prince Vault in a while, so you can see that this, the Africa, Talks to You, which is Sly Stone, and then you can see that there is I Got Some Help I Don't Need, B.B. King, and Give It Up or Turn It Loose, which is one of my favorite James Brown songs of all time. And I guess I'm going to do like right now, like a music.
Get it up, turn it loose. I'm sorry.
Hold on. So
real quick, while she's gone, who did Prince burn? Wasn't he burning reviews on stage or something like that?
That was
John Green.
Yeah, that was John Green too.
And who was he clowning in the show? Are you big? John Breen.
John Green. Okay, there you
Prince
go.
Prince knew.
So you're saying that there's a pattern?
Yeah, he knew what was up.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I love Vanessa's comment. Can we talk about how luscious his hair is? Yes, we can. Let's see. And then Reggie B is saying on some of the bootleg shows from the Purple Rain tour, Sheila's band kicked the Revolutions button. All right. So this is one album that I highly, highly recommend that you get. This is James Brown Live, Love, Power, Peace from 1971. And it was over in Paris, France. But what makes it so special is that Catfish Collins and Bootsy Collins, the brothers, were on this, and it's like on fire like Mariah. And it also has Get It Up, or Turn It Loose. But my personal favorite is Get Up, Get Into It, Get Involved. You got Soul Power, Super Bad. I could go on and on and on. This is a must-have for anybody's collection. If you want to be moved by the spirit, this will do it for you. So I just love that Prince performed Give It Up or Turn It Loose at 7th Street Entry. All right. Anything else you guys wanted to say about the photos, or we want to move on?
No, like you, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, I would just say, I think, like you said, when you see Prince and Sheila E, I think that connection, that chemistry is unlike any other that he ever had with people. And, I think the music that they generated speaks to it. Some of the bigger songs he's ever had is with Sheila or made for Sheila. I think some of the greatest performances, particularly we talked about last week, the Love Bazaar performance was with Sheila. You can see the chemistry in those pictures. I think the fact that she's opening up the Purple Rain is another testament to that. Sheila E and Prince was one of the coldest duos that he ever had. Same way I think of Prince and Morris. What they had when they created was fantastic. Of course, you could say Prince and Lisa and Wendy, but I think Prince and Sheila E might be one of the greatest combinations through his career. I mean, her becoming his drummer and how that band elevates when it hits Sign of the Times and Love Sexy. I mean, it was just peak. I think just him being comfortable and trusting her, and it just bled into everything he was doing at that period. And I love how, when she came into his orbit, it's a definite change for the better. Like some of his greatest stuff on stage, in my opinion. I know we like to talk crazy to Sheila, but don't get out of your rabbit mind and think that Sheila E is not one of the most important parts of Prince's career, in my opinion.
And to that point, Nelson George just dropped 3 really fire snippet interviews with Sheila E. So if you guys have been checking out those Nelson George, those 3 interviews, actually it's four clips, and they are fire. And I'm gonna say this and not try to take a jab at Nelson George. My favorite of the Sheila E clip, because now we have Sheila E, Nile Rodgers, George Clinton. I can't forget who the 4th person was. All 4 of them adamantly corrected Nelson George, because Nelson George throughout this has tried to be on the record that Prince, I want to be correct in how Nelson George puts it. Nelson George I don't want to put words in Nelson George's mouth, but like he didn't see Prince as a traditional funk artist. And he's asked them questions of that. And what I love is now Sheila E, George Clinton, Nile Rodgers, I know those 3 were all kind of like, to use Brother Dean's terminology, are you out your rabbit mind? Hell yeah, Prince was a funk artist. So just to, and the other clips about what Sheila E says, and again, it's giving her, as Brother Dean said, giving her due as a musician who can stand on her own. So yeah, go check out those Nelson George interviews, and then go check out her Tiny Desk performance, NPR Tiny Desk, because it is fire. I'll shut up.
So yeah, we've had the Tiny Desk in previous accompanying playlists, but I'm gonna put it back in there, and then I'm gonna add all the clips from the Nelson George interviews. What's been really frustrating, and I don't know if you've noticed this, Celie, is as soon as someone starts talking about Prince, he shuts.
I'm glad I'm not the only somebody who it's kind of like, and I look, I want to be full disclosure, Brother Dean. I grew up reading Nelson George, so I have a love-hate relationship with Nelson George, because for whatever reason, something happened in that relationship between Nelson George and Prince to where Nelson George has felt the need to take digs at Prince and to minimize Prince as a funk artist. And like you said, Prof. Duff, whenever somebody is talking, they almost have to talk over Nelson George to make their point about Prince, or they have to correct Nelson George, who at best wants to have Prince at the margins of funk, and not as a real funk musician. And so so just to say yes to amen to what you said, that's been clear. I'm glad I'm not the only somebody, and I don't want to be saying I'm looking through my and I hate that if I ever meet Nelson George, who means so much to me as someone who read him, I always go back to, that's why your ass was the George of Bob George. That's why that issue be doing. For those of y'all who don't know, Nelson George, Prince's song Bob George, the George is Nelson George. Just so y'all know. And if you go read the what's the little booklet that with the tours, if you read the booklet that was with the Love Sexy tour, Prince breaks down why Nelson George ass is the George of the Bob George. So they had that thing going, and you would think that in death, Nelson George would let it go. But for whatever reason, Nelson George let it go. I'll shut up.
I agree with everything you said about Mr. Nelson George, and I'm a big fan as well. Like you grew up. To me, I can understand why he says that, because in my mind, he is from the generation before us, like my dad and my uncle. And I can understand if they grew up with Parliaments and all of that and all those bands, and how they could probably see this young guy coming in, like, who is this kid? And even the older cats come to realize, I got to give this brother props. He putting it in. But I can understand there's that stubborn part, particularly of some black men. We can be stubborn and be like, yeah, he cool, but fuck that nigga. I mean, he all right. You know, so I get it. I get what he's doing, and he's just standing on that, and I understand. But and plus, when you take into account, I'm sure he very much knows Prince was going at him on them songs, so he's probably still a little salt. I get it. It's still a little salt. So I understand where he's coming from. I respect him having that opinion, because it could be easy to just go along and be like, yeah, like Rick James, the same type of thing. Like Rick has to admit, yeah, that brother is cold, but man, you know, like, you know what I mean? It's just that old hating kind of little bit, but he gives props. You know what I'm saying?
Is that Big Sexy in the chat?
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
is.
is. Yeah,
Hey,
it
Big
is.
Sexy.
Yes. So the one thing I want to say is that the interviews that Nelson George has been posting are incredible.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I am so grateful to Nelson George for posting all of these interviews. I don't know him personally, but if anybody knows Nelson George, please tell him just complete the interviews, because a lot of them cut off, and they often cut off when they're about to talk about Prince. And I just want to hear the rest of the interviews. So Nelson George is doing something that I wish that all documentaries would do. So he's releasing all the interviews that he did for his funk documentary. And I just think it's really, really incredible. Like the one that really stands out for me, and there's a lot of them. I mean, he interviews so many great people, was actually just seeing D'Angelo.
Mm-hmm.
How you could tell he was a music lover, just like the light in his eyes, just so excited he was to talk about all of these different artists. It was so incredible just to see that light.
That's who the fourth person was. Keep talking. Keep talking. That's who the fourth person was, D'Angelo. D'Angelo was the fourth person who shut down Nelson George. Go ahead, keep talking.
I mean, that's pretty much all. I just like, if anyone, I doubt Nelson George will see this, and I doubt, you know, but if he did come across this, I just want him to know that we so appreciate what he has done in releasing these interviews, and for actually doing the documentary in the first place back when he did it. And, you know, I actually I had the opportunity to talk to him because he did a Q&A when this was released. And my only thing that I was upset about was there is no Betty Davis in this documentary about funk. Betty Davis should be in this documentary. And he said that she didn't want to talk to him. But my thing is, even if somebody doesn't want to talk to you, you can talk to other people about Betty Davis, because he also interviewed Nona Hendryx, and he could have asked Nona Hendryx about Betty. And I was just like, why is she missing from this pretty seminal doc? Because there aren't a lot of, you know, funk documentaries. So that was my only thing, obviously. So yeah, we appreciate what Nelson George is doing right now. So yes, Betty Davis is always left out, and I don't understand it, because Betty's albums are some of the funkiest albums on the planet. Larry Graham was on Betty Davis' first album. Pete Escovedo recorded with Betty Davis. So I just don't understand why Betty keeps getting left out of the conversation.
There you go.
There you go.
Show that off. Show that off. There you go.
That's what I'm talking about, Michael. Yes. Got to give love to Betty Davis.
So as we move on, I'm just going to say this. New coat, huh? Did you buy it? Yeah, right. You seen that rich. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
Okay.
Let's move on.
All right. So we had a rehearsal on Friday and Saturday, but we talked about that. So I know Kim is like, you people. All right. So let's get to the music break. I'm salty because nobody told me, and I couldn't get to North Carolina quick enough anyway. But last night, Corey Henry and Mono Neon were on the same stage with Eric Gales as he celebrated his 50th anniversary. That was a show to see. Luckily, Corey Henry posted some video of him playing. It's such a funny video to watch on Instagram. If you go to the slide deck, which you can always find on the website, which is bookclub.polysolid.com. You go all the way down to the bottom, you click on a lot of the images, it will take you places, and this will take you to the Instagram that Corey posted of him performing on stage, also Instagramming live at the same time. And it's just really wild to be there, and seeing Mono Neon and Corey Henry together must have been something to see. So that was very exciting. And then Bilal is doing his final show tonight in Vancouver, Canada. So please support Bilal. And remember, I told you guys I saw him in Brooklyn, Williamsburg, and that it was a very special show. He's just on fire for this tour. I saw some of the footage from the LA tour. Like, he's on fire. This album is fire. Bilal is just like, I don't know. He's leveled up, and Bilal is a master. So if you've never seen a Bilal show, now would be the time to do it. But he just ended this tour, and I tried to tell you guys. Like, I don't even know. Did anybody go see? Yes,
like
that's
he
great.
played in Seattle last night. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was Seattle last night. Christina saw Bilal last week at the Dakota. I think he was at the Dakota. And did anybody go see him in Atlanta? So important. He is, I'm sure he'll tour again. And Corey Henry will also be performing tomorrow night in Norway. And then he'll also be, and that's Bergen, Norway. Then he's going to Oslo, Norway. Then he's going to Copenhagen, Denmark. And he's going to other places over in Europe for some shows. So if you're over in Europe, make sure you can check out Corey Henry if you can get to him. And then Robert Glasper is still doing his Robtober, and you know the guests, they keep on coming and coming. You never know who you're gonna see. So 2 nights every night at the Blue Note if you haven't seen them. And I'm super excited. I got on my Andre 3000 shirt because tonight I'm going to see Andre 3000 at BAM. I can't wait. This will be my 2nd time seeing him for New Blue Sun. Actually, 3rd time for New Blue Sun, because I also saw him at the Atlanta Jazz Festival this summer. Oh, wow. That's so great, Christina. That was your first time seeing Bilal. I hope that you enjoyed the show.
Does he do like the whole album or when he does his flute thing?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Could you kind of like just break down what the show is like that 3000 is doing?
Does he do like a flute version of like Hey Ya or something? You said no.
Okay, so I mean, so if you come to the concert, if you're coming to the concert to hear any Outkast, you are going to be disappointed.
So treating him like
Purple Rain red Corvette.
Yeah,
you're gonna be surprised at what you're gonna get. Is that what you said?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's
yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so like it's, and what they do is, and
that would be, I mean, just that little line. Can we just
Caroline?
Oh my God. And yes, Karan, tonight Andre's gonna be with Misha and Cello. So this will be the first time I'm seeing them together for this tour. So I'm super, super, super excited. And yes,
Jason. Jazz Cafe. What do we say? Hello. Yeah.
No, we gotta say hello. Yes, because on November 14th is gonna be at Fox Theater. And hi, Jason. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Now, see, I would want to see the show with Jason. That would be. I need that authentic ATL experience. You dig?
I believe Jason gonna. You know what? I believe Jason gonna be getting his Billy Sparks on. What you mean you ain't doing no Outkast? This is a business. You ain't too far gone to see that.
Now that's his people. See,
hey, don't nobody understand your music but yourself. I'm gonna need some hits.
You're packing them in. Well, he probably is packing them in like they used to, but yeah. Salute to Andre 3000. I'm just
okay. So let me finish. All right. So I've heard.
Can I rap? No, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, TC.
I don't know if you guys know, but right now we're living in a very chaotic, very stressful world. And if you need to calm down, I highly recommend that you listen to Andre 3000's New Blue Sun, because it puts you in a different headspace. So what he does in concert, and one of his key collaborators on this album was Carlos Nino, who's from the West Coast. And they do an improvisational sort of jam is the wrong word, but just they improvise all of the songs. So they're not playing the songs verbatim. They're kind of taking the essence of the song so that you get a different show every time you see them. They're not just playing a straight up set of the songs from the album, but it's like the vibe of the album. And I think that's like brilliant.
Okay.
Bet you Andre, day before the show, he like, all right, let's go play.
I love this from Kim, a musical meditation. That's right.
That's dope, though. That's actually dope. I'm clowning, but I actually salute what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Go
will
ahead.
say that sounds like a lot. If you've never read Miles Davis's autobiography, and let me always warn people, it's a difficult damn read, but it's a great read. But he talks about, and Herbie has told this story too, but he talks about the fact that when he hired Herbie Hancock, Herbie didn't understand that for the first half of the tour, Miles was mad at him because Herbie had memorized all the songs and had all the cues and everything. And finally, about halfway through the tour, Miles turned around and asked Herbie, like, what the fuck are you doing? And Herbie said, I'm playing the songs, Miles. And Miles said, not the same damn way every night, right? So when you talk about that is what you're saying that Three Stacks is doing is in the very tradition of what music should be. So I can respect him, like as I'm getting these jokes off because I'm just getting these jokes off. But when you said that they're doing kind of like the album is the foundation and they're going out basically creating something new every night, that's really what we want music to be. So salute to Andre for doing that. I'll shut up.
Yeah, that would be dope if a musician flipped the script and said, I'm gonna come out and freestyle rap tour or something. Like it would be, you know what I mean? Like it would be a challenge to do something that would be very difficult to do if that's not what you're known for, but maybe you've been practicing and like, no, I'm just gonna spit bars. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna put that up. And people would probably be like, what? But if it's good, I salute those types of brave jumping out, doing something else. So yeah, salute to Andre, man.
Yes, and while we're talking about the ATL, Jason posted that Dion Ferris has celebrated 30 years of Wild Seed, Wildflower, which was one of my favorite albums of all time because it was produced by one of my favorite musicians of all time, David Ryan Harris of Follow For Now. I still have so much love for Follow For Now, and I know he does not probably remember Follow For Now, but that was how I found out about David Ryan Harris. So the comment, like we were talking about Sheila and Prince together, the combination of David Ryan Harris and Dion Ferris together, to me, was a match made in heaven. So thank you for reminding us of that, Jason. I really do appreciate it. And also, I had this up, but I think this is really important. I love hearing that Karan puts on New Blue Sun for the kindergarten students to get them in a calm headspace. It is really a great album just to lower your blood pressure for sure. All right. So I know my timekeeper is getting a little antsy. So don't forget about the tribute to Funk, which is going to be on November 14th at NJ Pack, which is the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. All these folks on stage at the same time. I don't know. I might have a heart attack. We got Bilal, Nona Hendricks, Christian McBride, Savion Glover, Vernon Reed, and George Clinton. I can't wait to see that. And then Corey Henry is going to be doing 2 nights every night from December 3rd through the 8th at the Blue Note after Robtober. And let's get into the Purple World. We got some time. A lot is happening. And there's been a Black Album party announced for Paisley Park on the day before my birthday, which is November the 22nd. And then I want to give many, many thanks to Atlanta Bliss for coming on last week. For those of you who may not have been with us, Atlanta Bliss joined us. It's a really amazing conversation. You can buy his brand new book, Mind, Body, Trumpet, from atlantabliss.com/shop. I highly recommend it because it's for aspiring musicians, but he also has an interview in it about his years during Prince, as well as a discography from his Prince time, as well as a lot of amazing photos. And I really love the photos he has of him and Eric Lees when they were in Pittsburgh bands together. And then you can also buy a couple of the songs that I've played on What Did Prince Do This Week, one being Rainforest, and we played Space and Time last week at the top of the hour. And then Funkatopia was also on, Atlanta Bliss was also on Funkatopia. I haven't had an opportunity to watch that yet, but I'm sure it's amazing. And also, we got to give a shout out to Jesse. And I love me some Jesse Jenkins. So do you want to talk really quickly about what you guys talked about?
We talked about another conversation about the Netflix documentary, and wanting to get Jesse's perspective as a young brother who worked with Prince, what he thought about the prospect of it being released, and would Prince be canceled and that type of thing. So that's kind of what we talked about. But just to go back, that Black album, is that like a listening party of the album?
Yeah, I think it's a listening party. That's what I would assume that it is.
Wow, that's cool.
So, and I really appreciate that they're actually doing that. Let me flip the screen here. So it says we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Black Album and includes a walkthrough tour of Paisley Park. The listening party takes place in MBG Music Club, where DJ Holtz will mix tracks from the album as we all end the night in a dance party in true Paisley Park fashion. So maybe it's not a true listening session, but it seems like I just appreciate that they're celebrating the Black Album.
Interesting, man. This is dope, but I hope this leads to them like putting it out so we can kind of hear this too, or even just releasing the album so we can hear it. But it's dope. I'm interested.
Yeah, like Lisa said,
a walkthrough tour. That's what I'm tripping on.
Yeah. So yeah, that this would be Lee Christian saying not dissing at all, but can you imagine that happening when P was alive? I think it would have been. You know what? Like for me, one of the reasons why I love Sexy, it's about the tour for me, and I love Sexy because half of the tour is the Black Album.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, so even though Prince didn't release the album, he performed the songs on the Love Sexy tour, and not just one, but multiple songs.
Yeah.
So
no, I don't listen to, I do everything chronologically. I don't listen to Love Sexy without the Black Album. If I pull up my listserv right now, I begin with the Black Album and it goes straight through the Love Sexy. Like I have never, I had that little bootleg Black Album cassette in 1988 in real time. Like I was one of the people, and I'm sure other people did. You had that damn Black Album cassette in 88, and then you got pissed off when you realized it wasn't coming out. And the only thing that helped me out was that I said, well, whatever the hell is coming out that's not the Black Album better be good. And luckily for me, I love Sexy. I consider it the third greatest concept record ever made. But I can't listen to Love Sex without listening to the Black Album. Like to me, it's like I can't separate them. I'll shut up.
My first time hearing it back then, this I was getting my hair done.
Look we understand, brother. We understand. That's on my hairline now.
I'm in the, what do they call with the dryer with the the heat thing, but I had the shit was all wrapped up in the bag and the shit going around so nothing come out, and it was just hot. And I remember the lady that owned the shop, she had the Black, and she's like, I have this on a cassette, and I remember her playing it, and it was such a bad quality, probably 10th generation. I hated it. I was like, this isn't Prince. I was like, turn that off. And I didn't hear it till years later, but that was my first time. So I always kind of hated it at first because I just couldn't accept what I was hearing, and it was just so bad quality. And I was like, that can't be Prince. This sounds crazy. And plus the heat from the shit in my head was killing me. I was just like, when Denzel, when he's getting his hair done in Malcolm X and that lie relaxer, and that's how I heard I heard Black Album. So I was in pain. But anyway.
I love this quote from Vanessa. I probably had a 50 generation recording of the Black Album back in 1988. The quality was so bad.
That's crazy because I hear a lot of people say that, but I must admit the one we had was pretty good. Like it was on the cassette like everybody else's, but it was pretty good. Like when I finally heard it on CD, I was like, okay, this is what I like. So it's just interesting to hear. I just say that I love bootleg stories. Like I met a guy from Oakland who's in Mississippi doing the civil rights tour. So I went to dinner with him last night because he mentioned to somebody that he loved Prince, and so people hooked us up. So we sat to dinner, and the other 8 people with him were bored to tears because we spent 3 hours talking about bootlegs. So I love hearing people's bootleg stories. So yeah, brother, keep those coming. I just love everybody's bootleg stories. So in fact, everybody put in the chat the year you got your first bootleg, and then we'll move on. But just put the year in there. Put in the year you got your first bootleg. Let's move on. While Prof Dust leads us on.
All right. So this happened last week, but because we had our guest Atlanta Bliss, we didn't complete the Purple World stuff. And I just wanted to give a happy birthday to St. Paul Peterson, who celebrated 60 years with a performance at the Dakota. Christina was there and was able to see not only St. Paul, but Eric Leeds. And whenever they're on stage together, it is magical. So for those of you who had the opportunity to see them live, I'm so jealous, and I wish I had made different life decisions.
St. Paul, he looked like a pimp who moved to the suburbs, but he still got that, like he's sitting in the caddy, you know, he still got that mean, but you know, he done cleaned up, but he still got the streets in him. Salute to St. Paul, man.
This pimp hand's still strong. Don't touch it.
Oh my God. All right. So here we go. Rodney started off with shout out to Moonraker / Sabotage. We got 1989. We got 1988, the Black Album, Chris Bournet. We got Karan with 1988. We got Myron with 1994. We got Marcus, Big Sexy Wiggins with 1977. We got DC8A with 1986. We got J Boy, First Boot, 1986. Prince's Purple Kingdom, 88. And
I remember the titles of some of these. Like,
yeah, do you guys remember the titles? Can you post them? We got Audria, 1988. So let's see. We got a bootleg story for you, Celie. My friend called me saying she had a copy. She was like, you got to come to my house so we can hear it together. Top tier listening party. This is the way things were back then. Like, music was actually a communal activity. You would listen to music with your friends. Now we got the headphone nation. And let's see.
I think the first one I got was Royal Jewels.
That was a very popular
right when
it was.
the hits came out. That's what
that Royal Jewels was one. That Royal Jewels like one of them first big as hell ones too, right? Like it had a lot of stuff on it.
Yeah.
Yep. So Rodney got Small Club / The Jewel Box 1 and 2.
And I was always confused because wasn't nightclubbing like part of Small Club or half of Small Club or something like that? Like
multiple titles, yeah.
Yeah.
So Karan, the Black Album, Prince, Big Sexy, Crucial with Miles Davis.
I remember that one.
D688, A Tape of London, 1986, the day after the first Wembley show from Camden Market. Love that specificity.
This wasn't my first one, but what was the one that had Girl of My Dreams and Witness for the Prosecution? They were like having it as a duel with the Black Album. It had Girl of My Dreams, Witness for the Prosecution.
The Charade one? Do you remember the Charade one? It was called Charade. And it had a picture of Prince from Mountains.
No, this is the one. He looked more like around the Graffiti Bridge Batman time.
And for Sonic, it's 1991 VHS Nude Tour Bootleg. That's a good bootleg. Yeah. Love the Nude Tour.
Oh, yeah.
And you remember when remember when BT was playing snippets from the Nude Tour? And I was like mad. I was mad as hell. BT was playing snippets. Now, them goddamn Europeans getting all this good shit.
Right.
I hate these goddamn Europeans. Why the hell the Europeans always? No, shout out to my boy Lee Christian. I love you now, Lee Christian. But in 1990, when BT was playing all them good that Nude Tour over there, I hated you Europeans getting all the good shit. But I love y'all now.
I was mad that Princeton tour for Sign of the Times, especially, you know, I don't know. I was just so mad. But I mean, we wouldn't have gotten the Sign of the Times live.
Hold on, let me see if I can get it right quick.
All right. And let's see, Kim is saying, I only bought a CD of the Atlanta Live Love for One Another show I attended in 97 when I visited Seattle in 1999.
Interesting.
All right. And we got Manchester, Main Road, 92 on VHS, Yellow on CD, Sex Machine, also known as Small Club, Crucial, Charade, all vinyl. And Rodney has Detroit, Cabo, VHS, 1986. I love that we're also cracking out the VHSs. That's right. And I can hear C. Lee rummaging. All right, so I'm sure Celie will join us very quickly. So one of the things that's I really wish that I could have been in Minneapolis last week, actually the past 2 weeks, because so on Friday, the 18th, they had the St. Paul Peterson 60th birthday bash with Eric Leeds. Then on that Sunday, they had Bilal, and it seems like he did 2 shows. And then on Monday, there was Liv Warfield. And then it seems like tonight there's going to be Shelby J. So the Dakota is hopping right now. And so, and then Sanik is saying Friday night videos has some new tour snippets. And Christina also went to the Liv Warfield show too. Are you going to see Shelby tonight? All right, Celie, take us away.
So, yeah, so this was it's called Christopher, the Complete Sessions, and it was actually it had the Black album, it had the full Black album, and then it also had Crystal Ball, and it had Witness, Wonderful Ass, If You Break My Heart One More Time, Movie Star, She Wants a Place in Heaven, Girl of My Dreams, Can't Stop, Weekend Funk. And so this was one of those kind of this, and then
I've never seen that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so this was one of those, and then and on the back it's Prince and
Sheila. You know what? I had this because I remember that back cover.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
And so then, and the other things, I'll just kind of random. I just looked up. This came out because this kind of when you talked about the crown jewels. This was this came out. This was the Prince and Rock volumes 1 through 5, and so you had this was volume 1. And this had stuff like Just Another Sucker, She's Just a Baby, Lisa, Turn It Up, Fill You Up, Irresistible Bitch, Possess. And then you had volume 2, which more of the Purple Rain, Boots and stuff. And this had A Better Place to Die and Chocolate and the Right Old Friends for Sale. Then, of course, you had the volume 3 and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that just came up. But, yeah, I was really trying to just get that one. So, yeah, thank everybody for their bootleg stories, because I really like hearing people's bootleg stories.
And Rodney says that you need to make sure you say allegedly.
Thank you, Rodney. Allegedly. There you go, brother. There you go. Thank you, brother.
All right. Okay. So we're almost at the end here. And yes, Celie always brings receipts. So again, Michael B was on Funkatopia, which I think was amazing to hear him talk about all the tracks on the Love Symbol album, track by track. So if you haven't seen that, I put that in the accompanying playlist as well. And we talked about the Prince Icon book last week, but if you haven't gotten it, I think it's one of the better photo books. If you're into photography, just because of the size of the book, it's really big. It's like too big to pick up. And the paper quality is really great. And I just really love this cover photo from Steve Park. I think it's really amazing. And then we've already talked about this book, but if you want some amazing photos of not just Prince, but Sheila, and Apollonia 6 and Vanity 6 is a really good book to have. So we also talked about Andrea's book, Deeper Blues, as well as the anthology. So if you haven't picked these up, Christmas time is coming. And please continue to support Dr. Funkenberry during his fight with cancer. And you can contribute to his GoFundMe. Here again, you can do your Googles, as Michael Dean would say, or if you do look at the slideshow, if you click on it, it'll take you there.
Shout out to Funkenberry.
Yes, and I don't know why this isn't showing up, so I will go to the actual playlist. Let me change this here. So this is what I have in the playlist this week. I have I Would Die For You, the extended version. CL Community has the full 30 minutes of the recording of I Would Die For You. D68A has the Sheila set, as well as the 7th Street entry set. Then I also have After Africa Talks to You, the Sly Stone song, if you've never heard it. Or Turn It Loose. If you haven't heard that, I put all sorts of versions on here because it's one of my favorite songs from James, but almost every song by James is my favorite song, so that's not saying much. Then I put a couple of different versions of B.B. King's I Got Some Help I Don't Need here. Then I have the Atlanta Bliss show that we did last week, the interview with him on this show, as well as Funkotopias, as well as Michael Dean's podcast on Prince with Jesse Jenkins, and then the Michael Bland thing, Too Sexy. And then I'll add all of the Sheila Nelson George videos here. And I'll probably add some more stuff from our conversation that we had today. And let's see, next week we are going to be reading pages 444 to 447, just 3 pages. So you really need to, it'll give you time to catch up because we're about to go into full force with the Purple Rain tour starting in November, which will be very, very, very soon. Thank you so much, Christina, for actually listening to the playlist. It takes a little time to put them together. So sometimes I go, is anybody even listening to these? I don't know. So it's nice to know that someone's listening. So I will continue to do them. And how we want to be taken out this week. I was about to say something else, but I didn't want to. Oh, just really quickly. This is what we're going to be talking about next week, which is not a lot, but at the same time, a lot, because he records 2 songs in the same day, Strange Relationship and The Ladder. So, you know what I always say when there are empty days, we just need to do more research to figure out what was going on those days. But maybe they were taking a break because they're about to go on tour, like a really long tour.
Before Brother Dean take us out, I'm just gonna say Strange Relationship, and what was the other one?
The Ladder.
I mean, that's a whole career for most people. I mean, if he did those 2 songs on one day, that's why we here. All right, I'll shut up.
Before Michael takes us out, I just want to say thank you, LTK, for actually listening and staying the entire time. So this is your first time here, and I'm glad that the algorithm suggested it because I don't really get, like this channel in particular doesn't really get a lot of numbers and all that. So I'm really thankful that you're here. So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. All right, go ahead.
That's because you ain't being nasty. If you was being nasty and negative, and you'd get a whole lot of you. You got to be nasty and negative to get more algorithm. The algorithm like nasty and negative. So anyway, don't take it out, Brother Dean.
Lord. Man, another great show. Salute to everybody in the chat. The newcomers, we love it. Man, you had a lot of great stuff ahead of you to go back and watch. Enjoy that. Of course, check out the playlist. Thank you, Celie, once again, jumping in. Thank you, D'Angela. Yo, this was great. Had a ball. Work it like a job. See you next time. Peace.